Ampharos looking for the Volt Switch farm down, and we get it back out. Comes Talonflame. Talonflame might be thinking its two shields are going to save it. They shield up the Thunder Punch. Well, guess what? We have electric type. Number 2 Electrode can easily shield up whatever they throw, and we're going to be able to Volt Switch down and take that game. Welcome back to the home of Shadow Pokemon. My name is Jamie Finn, 1415, and I was the first documented trainer in the world to reach legend only using Shadow Pokemon. And today we have an incredibly spicy battle submission. Look to the left, we're running ABA Electric with Shadow Typhlosion. You get an F for bulk, an F for coverage, a D for safety, and an A for consistency. And that'd be because you're going to consistently beat them stupid flyers that are littering the Great League. These battles were submitted to the channel by Big Pokey, huge shout out to him. But without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1 we lead Shadow Ampharos into this nipple looking thing called Toxapex. The opponent safe switches into Lantern. They are incredibly weak to electric. We go for the brutal swing. That lands doing massive neutral damage to this super bulky fish. The opponent returns fire with the Surf, and Big Pokey respects it with a shield. This time he is throwing the Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch is slightly more energy efficient in this neutral matchup, so that would have been the correct play the first time. The opponent then throws on alignment. Big Pokey knows he will survive the Surf. Ampharos survives on minimal HP, and Big Pokey fires off Thunder Punch. Number 2. We maintain the correct alignment. This is going to allow us to align our Electrode with this Toxapex. The opponent probably thinking, who the fucking hell runs double electric? Well, surprise, we do. You saw in the intro we got an F for bulk, so Big Pokey does respect the brine, despite it not being the best move. However, none of our Pokemon can really tank a charge move. Electrode fires off the discharge, getting the final shield. The opponent again throws an alignment. Electrode will survive this brine. We've got the move. The opponent then makes a savage catch, catching the discharge on Trevenant. However, Trevenant is not going to appreciate the incinerate damage. We come into Typhlosion. The opponent doesn't even commit to the Shadow Ball. Typhlosion is going to be able to tank the resisted Seed Bomb. Incinerate farm down. We leave with the Blast Burn. Toxapex might resist it. It might think it's bulky, but the nipple is not bulky enough, and we managed to take that game. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, the absolute nightmare lead. Torterra is going to triple resist the Volt Switches due to the grass ground typing. We pivot out into our only real answer of Typhlosion. The opponent answers with Blastoise. Big yikes. The opponent shields the Blast Burn, commit to the Water Gun farm down, and we are in huge trouble already. Big Pokey sends back out Ampharos. This Blastoise is loaded. We are going to have to try and Volt Switch farm it all the way down. The opponent full sends an Ice Beam. I've got no idea why you'd Ice Beam. Perhaps they're not running the legacy move of Hydro Cannon. Back out comes Torterra. And now we have residual energy. Good to go. We fire off the Brutal Swing, and that actually does quite a lot of neutral damage. Ampharos hits really hard. We fire off Brutal Swing number 2. We draw the final shield and we pivot out into Electrode. The opponent has enough for what could be a Stone Edge or Frenzy Plant. We do respect it. The opponent sends the Frenzy Plant and then pivot out into a Fire Spin Charizard. So a triple starter team from the opponent. However, this gives us a win con. Charizard only going to reach a Dragon Claw. Electrode needs to survive. If we do survive or leave with the foul play, Electrode hangs on with 1 HP and a Dream. Moment of truth. Is foul play enough to secure the knockout? Yes, it is. Wow, I did not think that game was winnable, but we pull off the dub. In the next battle, we see Talonflame in the lead, a Pokemon I like to reference as a Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death, and Ampharos is quite literally about to fry this thing. Big Pokey shields up a Brave Bird. Brave Bird would be resisted, but probably would knock us out. The opponent then pivots out into Roserade, and we will answer with Typhlosion. We are going to absolutely melt this thing with the Incinerates. Big Pokey calls that it's just a weatherball fire. The opponent full sends the Sludge Bomb, and we get absolutely nuked. Typhlosion was straight in and straight out. Big Pokey now sends back out Ampharos. We draw the final shield with the Brutal Swing. Big Pokey going to be forced to shield up the Weatherball. We are then going to be able to outpace the Brutal Swing number 2, and now all shields are down. If Talonflame does return, we would be able to Volt Switch farm them all the way down. The opponent's final Pokemon is a Charge Beam Lantern. So if you're going to run Lantern, you either want to run Spark or Water Gun. Charge Beam just isn't really a particularly good move. It's objectively worse than Spark. The opponent then clearly doesn't know their typings. They fire off a Thunderbolt at Electrode, which is ironically more energy than Surf. So this is obviously at a lower elo, so there's learning for us all to do. They send back out Talonflame and Electrode, manages to get the Volt Switch farm down, and we take another dub. So if you are a newer battler, type in Pokemon resistance chart into Google and it'll bring you up a really nice chart of showing you every single type in, what it resists and what it's super effective against. However, getting back into the commentary, we'll lead Ampharos into the flying banana tree known as Tropius. The opponent is on Air Slash. This is a pretty good matchup for Ampharos as we're hitting for neutral the entirety of the time, whereas the Air Slashes are resisted and Air Slash isn't a particularly good move. Big Pokey looks to snipe. With Typhlosion, the opponent answers with a Mud Boy, Wish Daddy Cash. We shield up the Mud Bomb, and are we going to full send it? Big Pokey over farms and we're full sending the Solar Beam. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Wish Daddy Cash gets one shot and it's the Walrus in the back. Typhlosion now makes the Blast Burn and Typhlosion is absolutely going off. Blast Burn draws the final Protect Shield. The opponent did throw on CMP. Resisted Icicle Sphere still knocks out because Typhlosion cannot tank a hit for shit. However, Electrode now in a prime position to sweep. Big Pokey then makes a savage catch the next Icicle Sphere on his low health Ampharos. If it wasn't already game over, that is going to put the final nail in the coffin. The opponent also looks to Wham Bam combo play into Tropius. However, that just gives us even more farm. When Walrein does return, it wouldn't appreciate the discharge, so the opponent concedes the match. Moving on to the next one. We see the battle of the electric types. Galvantula, probably the most common electric type you're going to see in the Great League, outside of Lantern obviously, but we're not even going to mention that because Lantern is a very, very silly fish. Ampharos only just survived the lunge, however we did survive and we returned fire. With the Brutal Swing, the opponent shielded it up. We pivot out into Typhlosion and again the opponent answers with Wish Daddy Cash. Big Pokey shields up the Mud Bomb and we're full sending the Solar Beam. Please tell me it lands. Are we 2 for 2? No! The opponent actually respects it. As the opponent did throw the first Mud Bomb on alignment, Big Pokey can shield this up. We're now both 10 turns away from the charge move. Typhlosion wins the charge move priority, so there's no baiting. We're still 2 for 2 on beaming Wish Daddy Cash. You love to see it. The opponent then sends back out Galvantula. They do manage to Volt Switch farm us all the way down. Big Pokey gonna have to make another catch. We actually send out Ampharos. The opponent throws immediately. This allows Electrode to get the Volt Switch farm down. However, it's Ferrothorn in the back, and I think this is just game over. As I doubt Electrode can survive the Power Whip. Moment of truth. Come on, Electrode, show your bulk. The Pokeball does survive, okay. We've got a chance. We survived the Bullet Seeds. We are going to knock them out with the Foul Play. How healthy is that Galvantula? Are they healthier than us? It's going to be close. Is it a tie? No, the Spider survives on 1 HP. And we go a nice 4-1 in set number 1. Holy crap. Moving on to the next one. Ampharos into Raichu. What the heck is going on? I was going to say electric types are really uncommon. However, we've seen quite a few in this video, to be honest. Clearly, no one's told Raichu that it's only May and Christmas is actually celebrated on the 25th of December. Raichu shields up the Brutal Swing. We then win CMP on Brutal Swing. Number 2, Raichu, super glassy. It knocks out the opponent, has gone down a shield and lost switch. And apparently not only is the trainer confused by what month we're in, they're also confused by that matchup and they concede. Moving on to the next one. Another Talonflame. It's really crazy, to be honest, how different the meta is at different elos. Because I'd say upwards of 2500 elo, you're not really going to see Talonflame in the Great League. However, this opponent clearly can count as they make a great catch, catching on a Bomber Snow. However, a Bomber Snow gets absolutely deleted by Typhlosion. They then send out Toxapex. And again, we're full sending the Solar Beam. Neutral Solar Beam. Nearly one-shots the bulkiest Pokemon in the Great League. Well, I'm not sure it's the bulkiest, but it's pretty bulky Toxapex. And that did huge damage. And when I say bulky, Toxapex is one of the few Pokemon that can tank a super effective Earthquake from a Shadow Swampert in the Great League. Ampharos though comes in, Volt Switch farms all the way down Talonflame, commits a shield on the Thunder Punch, and high Talonflame meet electric type. Number 2, Big Pokey, gonna be shielding up the Flame Charge. Electrode then gonna commit to the Volt Switch farm down, and we take another dub. So another tip for newer battlers, in that last battle, We didn't really need to bother throwing the Thunder Punch as the opponent had 2 Protect Shields. We should have just completely committed to the Volt Switch farm down. In the next battle we lead Ampharos into Trevenant Ampharos, draw as a Protect Shield, and again we see the aggressive pivot into Typhlosion. We correctly shield up a Shadow Ball. I really like the way Big Pokey gets himself shield advantage and then sends out Typhlosion. The opponent answers with Pelipper. Pelipper is a water type and my god, holy crap, Blast Burn nearly one-shots. The Flying Toilet did actually CMP tire, so Big Pokey can now come in, Volt Switch farm down. Only one Volt Switch enough to take him out. My god, Pelipper getting absolutely battered in this battle. The opponent then sends out Wish Daddy Cash. Wow. I always say the algorithm isn't real, but we're triple weak to ground and this is the 3rd Wish Cash. What are the chances? However, Big Pokey with 1 Protect Shield to hide behind, shielded up the Mud Bomb, return fire. With the Brutal Swing, the opponent let it go. However, I don't think we can beat this Trevenant. We come in, the opponent sends out Trevenant. We've got no Protect Shields to hide behind. The opponent gonna fire off the Shadow Ball, and unfortunately, we're gonna take a loss. GG's to that opponent. Me personally, I cannot remember the last time I saw Wish Daddy Cash in the Great League. It's got to be 3 or 4 seasons. This is the most common Mud Ball you expect to see, and this is a huge problem for our team. Big Pokey fires off the Brutal Swing at Swampert. Swampert commits the shield. Big Pokey going to be returning the shield on the Hydro Cannon. The opponent actually full sends the Earthquake. No trainer, you really didn't need to Earthquake, as Hydro Cannon with the Mud Shots would have been enough to secure the knockout. We then fire off the Brutal Swing, getting this Swampert super low. We then pivot out into Electrode. Electrode going to be shielding this move up, and the opponent again sends an Earthquake. This allows Electrode to get the Volt Switch farm down. So how do you beat Swampert? Apparently, they just go straight Earthquake, and we shield it 2 times. The opponent then answers with Talonflame. What the heck is going on? I'm so confused. The opponent then shielded up a Discharge, which was a really poor shield as we're only 8 turns away from the next Discharge. They were 10 turns away from the Flame Charge. They've got Toxapex in the back, and we pull off a pretty good win, to be honest, despite really unfavourable team comp. Moving on to the next one. Those of you that believe in that algorithm are going to be able to put up a pretty strong argument as we see yet another Wish Daddy Cash. Big Pokey did tank the Mud Bomb. We near get one shot. We return fire with the Brutal Swing and Wish Daddy Cash shield. Is Wish Daddy Cash going to sweep our team? Big Pokey now sends out Electrode, and Electrode is not going to appreciate the Mud Bombs. We haven't got Hyper Beam either, so we're going to need at least 2 foul plays to knock this thing out. Big Pokey goes for the first foul play. Does this do 50% of the range of the HP? The opponent double shields. Big Pokey commits his last Protect Shield, but Wish Daddy Cash is absolutely smelling blood. Big Pokey gonna fire off the next foul play on the CMP tie. Wish Daddy Cash will survive. We're pretty low. He looks to snipe. We're unable to snipe. Okay, come on, Typhlosion. You need to sweep, buddy. Mud Bomb doesn't take us out. We come into Typhlosion. We get the Incinerate farm down. Please have double steal in the back. Please have double steal. The opponent sends out Pelipper. This Solar Beam is absolutely going to vanquish Pelipper. Back to their Pokeball. Can Typhlosion sweep? It's Trevenant! If we survive this Seed Bomb, we've got the Blast Burn. However, in the red health, I think that's pretty much impossible. We get taken out with the Seed Bomb, and we lose a pretty heartbreaking game. But what a game that was. Man, that was some crazy stuff. Big Pokey, shout out to you, sir, as that was such fun to shoutcast. That, without a doubt, was one of the most fun I've ever had shoutcasting, because that was some craziness. I had no idea what was going on for the majority of the video, but it was great entertainment. So if you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on the channel, link to my battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.